With which words Trotty, in a breathless state, set the child down before his daughter in the middle of the floor. The little visitor looked once at Meg, doubting nothing in that face, but trusting everything she saw there, ran into her arms. Here we are, and here we go, cried Trotty, running round the room and choking audibly. Here, Uncle Will, here's a fire, you know. Why don't you come to the fire? Oh, here we are, and here we go. Meg, my precious darling, where's the kettle? Here it is, and here it goes, and it will boil in no time. Trotty really had picked up the kettle somewhere or the other in the course of his wild career, now put it on the fire, while Meg, seating the child in a warm corner, knelt down on the ground before her, pulled off her shoes, and dried her wet feet on a cloth. Aye, and she laughed at Trotty too, so pleasantly, so cheerfully, that Trotty could have blessed her where she kneeled, for he had seen that, when they entered, she was sitting by the fire in tears. Why, father, said Meg, you're crazy tonight, I think. I don't know what the bells would say to that. Poor little feet. How cold they are. Oh, they are warm now, exclaimed the child. They are quite warm now. No, 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 said Meg. We haven't rubbed them half enough. We are so busy, so busy. And when they are done, we'll brush out the damp hair. And when that's done, we'll bring some color to the poor pale face with fresh water. And when that's done, we'll be so gay and brisk and happy. The child, in a burst of sobbing, clasped her round the neck, caressed her fair cheek with its hands, and said, Oh, Meg, oh, dear Meg, Toby's blessing could have done no more. Who could do more? Why, father, cried Meg after a pause. Here I am, and here I go, my dear, said Trotty. Good gracious me, cried Meg, he's crazy. He's put the dear child's bonnet on the kettle, hung the lid behind the door. I didn't go for to do it, my love, said Trotty, hastily repairing his mistake. Meg, my dear. Meg looked towards him and saw that he had elaborately stationed himself behind the chair of their male visitor, where with many mysterious gestures he was holding up the sixpence he had earned. I see, my dear, said Trotty, as I was coming in, half an ounce of tea lying somewhere on the stairs, and I'm sure there was a bit of bacon too, as I don't remember where it was exactly. I'll go myself and try to find them. With this inscrutable artifice, Toby withdrew to purchase the viands she had spoken of for ready money at Mrs. Chickenstalker's. Presently came back, pretending he had not been able to find them at first in the dark. But here they are at last, said Trotty, setting out the tea things all correct. Was pretty sure it was tea and a rasher, so it is, Meg, my pet, if you will just make the tea while your unworthy father toasts the bacon. We shall be ready immediate. It's a curious circumstance, said Trotty, proceeding in his cookery, with the assistance of the toasting fork. Curious, but well known to my friends, that I never cared myself for rashers, nor for tea. I like to see other people enjoy them, said Trotty, speaking very loud to impress the fact upon his guests. But to me, as food, they are disagreeable. Yet Trotty sniffed the savour of the hissing bacon, as if he liked it. And when he poured the boiling water in the teapot, looked lovingly down into the depths of that snug cauldron, suffered the fragrant steam to curl about his nose, and breathed his head and face in a thick cloud. However, for all this, he neither ate nor drank except at the very beginning, mere morsel for form's sake, which he appeared to eat with infinite relish, but declared was perfectly uninteresting to him. No, Trotty's occupation was to see Will Fern and Lillian eat and drink. So was Meg's, and never did spectators at a city dinner or court banquet find such a high delight in seeing others feast, although it were a monarch or a pope, as those who did in looking on that night. Meg smiled at Trotty. Trotty laughed at Meg. Meg shook her head and made believe to clap her hands, applauding Trotty. Trotty conveyed in dumb show unintelligible narratives of how and when and where he had found their visitors to Meg, and they were happy, very happy. Although, thought Trotty sorrowfully as he watched Meg's face, that match is broken off, I see. Now I'll tell you what, said Trotty after tea. The little one, she sleeps with Meg, I know. With good Meg, cried the child, caressing her. With Meg. That's right, said Trotty, and I shouldn't wonder if she kissed Meg's father, won't she? I am Meg's father. Mightily delighted Trotty was, when the child went timidly towards him, and having kissed him, fell back upon Meg again. She is as sensible as Solomon, said Trotty. Here we are, here we come, and here we know we don't. I don't mean that. What was I saying, Meg, my precious? Meg looked towards their guest, who leaned upon her chair, and with his face turned from her, fondled the child's head half hidden in her lap. To be sure, said Toby, to be sure. I don't know what I'm rambling on about tonight. My wits are wool gathering, I think. Wilford, will you come along with me? You're tired to death, broken down for want of rest. You come along with me. The man still played with the child's curls, still leaned upon Meg's chair, still turned away his face. He didn't speak, but in his rough, coarse fingers, clenching and expanding in the fair hair of the child, there was an eloquence that said enough. Yes, yes, said Trotty, answering unconsciously what he saw expressed in his daughter's face. Take her with you, Meg. Get her to bed. There. Now, Will, I'll show you where you lie. It's not so much of a place, only a loft. But having a loft, I always say, is one of the great conveniences of living in mews. And till this coach house and stable gets a better let, we live here cheap. There's plenty of sweet hay up there belonging to a neighbor, and it's as clean as hands. And Meg can make it. Cheer up, don't give way. A new heart for a new year always. The hand released from the child's hair had fallen trembling into Trotty's hand. So Trotty, talking without intermission, led him out as tenderly and easily as if he had been a child himself. Returning before Meg, he listened for an instant at the door of her little chamber in the adjoining room. The child was murmuring a simple prayer before lying down to sleep. When she had remembered Meg's name, dearly, dearly, so her words ran, Trotty heard her stop and ask for his. It was some short time before the foolish little old fellow could compose himself to mend the fire, draw his chair to the warm hearth. But when he had done so and had trimmed the light, he took his newspaper from his pocket and began to read. Carelessly at first and skimming up and down the columns, but with earnest and sad attention very soon. For the same dreaded paper redirected Trotty's thoughts into the channel they had taken all that day, and which the day's events had so marked out and shaped. His interest in the two wanderers set him on another course of thinking, and a happier one for the time. But being alone again and reading of the crimes and violence of the people, he relapsed into his former train. In this mood, he came to an account. It was not the first he had ever read of a woman who had laid her desperate hands not only on her own life, but on that of her young child, A crime so terrible and so revolting to his soul, dilated with the love of Meg, that he let the journal drop and fell back in his chair, appalled. Unnatural and cruel, Toby cried. Unnatural and cruel. None but people who are bad at heart, born bad, who had no business on the earth could do such deeds. It's too true, all I have heard today. Too just, too full of proof we are bad. The chimes took up the word so suddenly, burst out so loud and clear and sonorous. The bells seemed to strike him in his chair. And what was that? They said, Toby Weck, waiting for you, Toby Weck, waiting for you, Toby. Come and see us, drag him to us. Haunt and hunting, break his slumbers. Toby Weck, door open wide, Toby Weck, door open wide, Toby. Then fiercely back to their impetuous train again, and bringing in the very bricks and plaster on the walls. Toby listened, fancy. His remorse for having run away from them that afternoon. No, nothing in the kind. Again, and yet a dozen times again. Haunt and hunt him. Drag him to us. Deafening the whole town. Meg, said Trotty softly, tapping at her door. Do you hear anything? I hear the bells, father. Surely they are very loud tonight. Is she asleep? Said Toby, making an excuse for peeping in. So peacefully and happily, I can't leave her yet. Though, father, look how she holds my hand. Meg, whispered Trotty, listen to the bells. She listened with her face towards him all the time, but it underwent no change. He didn't understand them. Trotty withdrew, resumed his seat by the fire, and once more listened by himself. He remained here a little time. It was impossible to bear it. Their energy was dreadful. If the tower door is really open, said Toby, hastily laying aside his apron, but never thinking of his hat, what's to hinder me from going up the steeple and satisfying myself? If it's shut, I don't want any other satisfaction. That's enough. He was pretty certain as he slipped out quietly into the street that he should find it shut and locked, for he knew the door well, and had so rarely seen it open that he couldn't reckon above 3 times in all. It was a low arched portal outside the church in a dark nook behind a column, and had such great iron hinges and such a monstrous lock that there was more hinge and lock than door. But what was astonishment when coming bareheaded to the church, putting his hand into this dark nook with a certain misgiving that it might be unexpectedly seized, and a shivering propensity to draw it back again, he found that the door, which opened outward, actually stood ajar. He thought of the first surprise of going back, or of getting a light or a companion, but his courage aided him immediately. He determined to ascend alone. What have I to fear, he thought, it's a church. Besides, the ringers may be there and had forgotten to shut the door. So he went in, feeling his way as he went, like a blind man, for it was very dark, very quiet, for the chimes were silent.